which actually puts us quite nicely onto the next topic in terms of if Spurs are now in pole position for that top four. Is it Tottenham's to lose now, Brian?
Oh, this is such a tough question because you know what? I think a lot of this hinges on where that Chelsea game gets put. That's still, if we look at it, when we say we have a game in hand, if you could pick any game in hand not to be at somewhere, it would be Stamford Bridge, wouldn't it? Let's be serious with our record.
But Brian, you look at it. Yeah, we battered Aston Villa in those first 20 minutes, half an hour. We went to Villa Park with a clear revenge mission. We got that out of the way. Chelsea as well. We battered them in the first 20 minutes, however long it was. Obviously, what happened on that pitch? Surely we go to Stamford Bridge with a big revenge mission on our hands.
Mate, how many years have we gone with a big revenge mission on our hands to Stamford Bridge?
I remember clearly winning 3-1 there. That's the only one I can remember.
Well done. I remember when Gary Lineker scored the last winning goal before that. Just to put some. But yeah, do you know what? If we're going to be serious, you look at it mathematically, it's completely in our hands. It's completely in our hands. We win everything, or we do better than Villa, we're in the Champions League. It's that simple. So based on that, it is. But Ben, you and I have had this discussion when we've spoken on the phone. Aston Villa have got a hard run in as well. It's not just Spurs, but it's only Spurs that have got it back to back to back to back. The next four games, which are all in London, we have to be ruthless. If we can take 12, 9, 10 points, then I think we will be in fourth position, and then we will go on to get it. But by mathematics, yeah, but it's ours to lose. But whether we get it is another thing to me still.
Ash, would you, at this stage, I mean, Villa are 2 points ahead of us, right? Therefore, we're fifth. We've got the game in hand. Would you prefer to have the points right now, or would you prefer to have that game in hand?
Points all day long. I don't believe in games in hand because honestly, you have to win the game that's in front of you. You have to take a game at a time. I think at the moment, though, we do have the momentum swing, and I think that's very important in football. I think having the belief as well, that 4-0 statement win is going to do a lot of confidence to a lot of the players in our team. So going into these games, I love that we've got quite a few London games left as well, because that means we haven't got to travel too much as well. I take that into consideration. And just preparing for these type of games, I like it because the teams we're starting to play now, they're the teams that aren't necessarily going to low block us. They're teams that like to come at us. I know they're going to be quite a few hard teams, and people are like, oh my days. But I honestly think when the pressure's not on Spurs per se, then that's when Spurs tend to do better, in my opinion. So it depends how we perceive the top four. And I've heard Ans come out and say, don't talk about top four. And I agree with him. Do you know why? I agree with him. If you're going for the title, if you're going for second or third, that's how you get top four, in my opinion. You're trying to push for something. But when you're trying to push for top four, that's when you just miss out. That's how I see it. So I think you got to push and try to finish as high as possible.
Are you saying Spurs are always going to fall short?
No, I'm saying aim for the moon. You might get the stars. That's what I'm saying. I don't know which way around it is, but I'm saying just reach high, aim high. And these players, they're ambitious. I know, like, obviously Maddison came out and talked about top four, but I listened to the leader at the top, you know what I'm saying, in terms of the person that's going to be in the dressing room, influencing those players, telling them, like, on the coaching field what to do. He's going to be trying to install in them, not for just this season, but seasons coming on. Like, he didn't come in this job to get top four. That's not his reign. Like, that's not his character. Do you know what I mean? And so I think he wants to finish as high as possible. And that's why he's saying to those journals, he's like, listen, if anyone talks about top four again, I'm going to lose it. So for me, I'm not mad at that. I don't mind that ambition. I'm not going to get carried away as a fan, because obviously we know history dictates to us what really happens. That Chelsea game, I agree with Brian, of all places, Stamford Bridge. And I saw it the other day. It was Battle of the Bridge. I think I watched it this morning. Like, it just came up on my feed. Not the whole game. It was like a little clip. And they showed us going in front. They showed us getting the second goal. Son got the second goal. It was like Kane got the first, and Son's got the second. And then they just threw the substitutes on and the game changed and it just got ugly after that, man. And I still got that memory in the back of my mind. Stamford Bridge, we've got an awful record. That's like one of the worst places to go. But records are there to be broken. And if you look at our current 11 and you look at our form, I know that you won last night, but that game was smelly. I'll be honest. That game, two teams playing poorly. That was the mid-off. That was the mid-off. That wasn't the top 5, 6, nothing. They've only got like 13 points clear of them. It's crazy if you look at that at the table. So if I'm going player for player, if I'm going for form right now, then I bet us. I bet on us. I bet on Spurs. If I'm being honest, I'll bet on Spurs.
So as you say, forget the top 4 race. Ange Postecoglou says to dream, right?
That's
so
right.
what about come the end of this month? Spurs play 2 games. Arsenal play 1 game. We have that game in hand over them. If they lose at the Etihad, can we go into next month with playing them 5 points behind them?
Do we have a game in hand though? Because
we do.
We do have a game in hand on them. Okay, because
but technically they're not playing next week, so technically it'll be level games after that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, technically we should be getting the job done. The game against Fulham that we played at the beginning of the season, Maddison and Son's relationship, they both got the goals, and I'm looking for that similar chemistry. Like Son for me has to stay in the middle, and Maddison, I just want to see him further forward. I know why he drops in, I know why he plays deep to collect that ball, to start that kind of transition from attack. He's a quality passer and he likes to find space, etc., etc. But I just want him closer to Son so he can find them, and then I want Son in that 10 sometimes and him finding Maddison, and I think we'll blow Fulham away. I think we should have enough to blow Fulham away, because the last game we played 2-0 wasn't the right result. We should have had way more goals than that. So, and again, Luton, tricky. I'm not gonna lie, Luton, everyone's like writing them off, but every game I watch them, they just have something about them. They just look like the managers just got them playing a style of football that, everyone knows their jobs. They're defensively, they are leaking goals still, though. That's one thing I will say. They are still leaking goals, and that's going to come into our hand. But they're going to play into our hands a little bit. Forest, again, there's no easy league. There's no easy game in the Premier League. Forest, they look organised again as well. But I just feel like the fire is in the belly. We're in the business end, and we've got a job to do. And so, we could be 5 points behind Arsenal, and that just makes it even more fiery, because we must stop them from winning the league. We must. But I'm pretty sure we got to play City before that.
Yeah, we play City. We play City, Arsenal, Liverpool all in a row.
It's City before we. So
it's City, Arsenal, Liverpool.
When you say 5 points behind, does that include a City win? Or what are we doing there?
No, this is by the end of the month. So before that run.
Oh, by the end of the month. All right, yeah, calm. Yeah. 5 points. Yeah. That's cool, because they've got to play City as well. So it's all calm. Yeah. All right.
Sim, I mean, these next 4 games, if we can go on a really good run now, that could really put the cat amongst the pigeons, couldn't it?
Yeah, if I take the next 5 games, if I look at Villa's next 5 games, so they got West Ham away, Wolves at home, City away, Brentford at home, and Arsenal away. I don't see many more than 6 points out of that for Aston Villa. I think they'll do very, very well to get more than that. They'll probably lose to City and Arsenal. So I'm predicting around 6 points for Villa's out of the next 15. For us, we've got Fulham away, Luton at home, West Ham away, Forest at home, and then Newcastle
tough away games.
Tough away games, but Newcastle not on the best form at the moment. Obviously, Fulham are doing all right. West Ham always turn up against Spurs, but could that potentially be in between 2 European games? I'm not 100% sure. So I think if we can get like 10 out of the 15 points there, if we can get like at least 10 points out of that, I'm thinking we're gonna put ourselves right in the ascendancy for top 4. I think if we get 10 points out of the next possible 15, I think we'll be overtaking Villa. I don't think they'll be able to come back from that, because even after those, even during our tough run where we have City at home, Arsenal at home, and Liverpool away, which obviously you never know what we'll get, but it's highly unlikely we don't win out any of those games, but we might win some of them. Villa still got they have to play in that run. Bournemouth at home, Chelsea at home, Brighton away. But then they end the season at home to Liverpool and away at Palace, and we end the season at home to Burnley and away at Sheffield United. So even if they catch up a few points there's still opportunities after that run where we can level it out. So I think it's looking very, very difficult. I think we just have to make sure we take full advantage of these next 5 games. If we can get 10 to 13 points, something like that, we could, and really go build some momentum, go on a run. And maybe we might be looking at those games, those City, Liverpool and Arsenal games, thinking if we can go into those games without needing to chase Villa, and we're ahead of Villa. Hopefully, though, we go into those games, the pressure's slightly off us a bit, and maybe if we can go into those games with the pressure off a bit, maybe who knows what we can do in those games. Maybe we really take the game to those games and maybe get some unexpected points, and that'd be amazing. I feel like if we go into those games chasing Villa with the pressure on a bit, that's where we might start to falter. I do worry about that kind of situation, but if we go in ahead of Villa, I think we'll go into it full of confidence, and we'll be thinking more of a what happens if we win rather than what happens if we lose.
We need to win. We need to win.
Exactly, rather than like what if we win.
Yeah,
that kind of scenario. But as you say, like if we win our next 2, the chances are we do.
And says Dream Sim. And says Dream. I want to hear these dreams.
If we win our next 2 games,
take each game as it comes. And we start going 6 games, 7 games, 8 games.
No, but if we can beat Fulham and Luton, which is not that unlikely, like hopefully we can do it, tough games. But if we do that and Arsenal do lose at the Etihad, then the gap is 5 points. And if the gap is 5 points, with them still to come to the lane, like and an opportunity, to take points off them on that front. I mean, I'm not saying the league is possible, but in terms of just us, finishing above Arsenal, I mean that's not completely impossible if the gap is only 5 points by the end of the month.
The difference is that before that Arsenal game we got City, and after the Arsenal game we got Liverpool away.
Yeah. It makes it very difficult.
That's the difference.
That is the difference. But they also got tough games. They've also, they still got Brighton away. They got Villa as well to play. Not easy games. I'm not saying
it's not Liverpool City though.
It's not Liverpool City, but City don't have a good record at Spurs. Who knows what can happen in that game? Obviously, Anfield I always write that game off, but. I'm just saying.
Guarantee you now we have a top performance at Anfield and lose. That's what's going to happen. It happens every year.
We've spoken about revenge at Stamford Bridge. There's a certain revenge that needs atoning for at St James's Park before even any of those games happen.
Oh yes. Yes.
We're talking about the Villa City Arsenal City Arsenal Liverpool. They're still Newcastle away, and we know what happens there or happened there. These games, there's so many added ingredients and twists and added revenge missions. It's going to be a lot about these players' mentality.
Every game's a revenge mission after what happened last season.
Exactly. It's called a revenge tour, really, shouldn't it? That's what it's going to be this season. But yeah, that game is massive as well. That if we can get 3 points at St James's Park, again for the mentality like Villa, then you start thinking, okay, they're in the right place. They're ready to go for this mission. Like we did when we beat Arsenal and Chelsea with a Danny Rose goal to get fourth at Man City. We've got to go into these games and carry on in the manner we did against Villa.
Yeah, I just feel like as well that this result for us and McGinn's red card could have a big psychological blow to Aston Villa as well.
Wait a sec, Sim. Am I getting some feelings from you that you think that we can finish above Arsenal this season?
Above Arsenal? I don't think we can, but I'm just saying, if the gap is 5 points by the end of the month, then it's and they still have to come to the lane. If we can get to that position, then it's all to play for.
We need to get to the Arsenal game by 5, with it being 5 points. That's what we need to do.
No, but let's take it step by step. You take it to the end of the month. If we can sit here again by the end of the month and the gap is 5 points, with the game still to come, of course, then you take it like game by game. But if they win at the Etihad, then obviously there's no chance. But if they lose at the Etihad and we win our next 2, and that gap is then 5 points, and then at that stage there, it's all to play for. Right now, it's not all to play for. Right now, it's over. Arsenal 11 points clear. They're going to be well above us. But I'm saying if we get to the end of the month, Arsenal have to play Chelsea and United away as well, potentially. So maybe that's also a tricky game for them.
Do you think there's a possibility that if Arsenal do lose at the Etihad, that the wheels fall off a little bit?
I don't. Again, depends if they're in Champions League still. If they've got the European games to contend with, I don't know. I don't know if the Wolves will fall off, even if they lose at the Etihad. I still think like they'll have the confidence to win a lot of their games. But when it comes to a few of the trickier games, like United away, Villa at home, potentially Chelsea at home, I don't know if you call that a tricky game anymore. Wolves away, that could be a tricky game. Maybe there's opportunities there for them to drop points, but I don't know if they'll do what they did last season, where it just completely fell off. I don't know. I'm not convinced of that. They seem to have
four of those games you mentioned, there's only about 11 games left of the season. I mean, I would say if they dropped points in 4, potentially 5 games, if you include Tottenham for the rest of the season, that is the Wolves falling off.
Yeah, I don't know if they will. I don't know if they will do that. That's what I'm saying. I think they seem to have a bit of toughness, a bit of mental toughness this season in regards to last season when things didn't go their way. They kind of lost their way a bit. I mean, I guess we haven't seen it yet. It might still happen. We'll have to wait and see if they learn their lesson. But they seem to be a bit more of a controlled team. Last season was a bit more haphazard, a bit more, basketball-y, where they were just out. Well, yeah, a bit more gung-ho. This season's a bit more controlled. So I haven't seen evidence yet that they have that in them for it to fall off, but it might come still.
Let's hope so. Touch wood.